Hey, truth seekers, welcome back. Zach here. Yesterday, December 1st, 2016, it was reported that Joe McKnight, the former NFL college football star, was murdered in an act of road rage in New Orleans. That was yesterday, December 1st. Earlier this year, April 9th, 2016, it was reported that the former NFL player Will Smith was shot to death in New Orleans, the same city, in an act of road rage after being in a small fender bender. And they said Will Smith was driving home after being at a police sponsored function. Suspicious story, suspicious details. April 9th with Will Smith, and again the case today with Joe McKnight. Or should I say yesterday? The updated headline today is that the man who shot and killed Joe McKnight, they're saying his name's Ronald Gasser. Talk about that name and what it has to do with Joe McKnight. They're saying the man who killed him is walking free right now. The laws of Louisiana protect him. Right now he's arguing that he defended himself. He's going to have to prove his innocence in a court of law. But they're having the discussion. You know, this news story, this national news story, it brings up the conversation. Should people be able to own handguns? You know, other nations have banned handguns, only allowing hunting rifles. You know, part of the narrative is that. Also, the other part of the conversation is what rights should gun owners have? Should you be able to shoot and kill someone and walk free the next day? This is the reason this story is being introduced to us. And the reason they're using Joe McKnight to play the part of the victim is because this is what athletes are. They are sellouts to humanity. They are actors. They're paid a lot of money to be the frauds that they are. And athletes, celebrities, they are used often in the media to program people because people are obsessed with celebrity. You know, Joe McKnight used to be one of the most popular players in college football. I don't think he had as much success at the NFL. But anyway, the point is, Joe McKnight is not dead. If Joe McKnight really is dead, he was murdered, and this entire story is made up just to create this narrative. But I don't think Joe McKnight's dead. Joe McKnight's probably off on Celebrity Island or wherever these people go. You know, it's a big world. Joe McKnight could cut his hair, shave his face. Most people wouldn't even recognize him tomorrow. It's so easy to change your appearance in this world. I know that from life experience. I used to have long hair and a beard, and I was teaching elementary school, and I decided to shave and cut my hair short over a winter break. And when I came back, some people thought I was a substitute. They didn't think I was the same person. A lot of people did not recognize that it was me. So anyway, real easy in this world to disappear. I mean, how many people would recognize Joe McKnight on the street anyway? You know, football players normally have a helmet on their head. So anyway, Joe McKnight, I'm going to show you that this was all scripted, all planned, and I'm going to show you the parallels between this incident and Will Smith. In the Will Smith story, they told the world that he wanted to work for the FBI. When they were talking about how he was killed, his dream was to work for the FBI. I wouldn't be surprised one bit if Will Smith, the football player who reportedly died April 9th, is working for the FBI under an alternate ID. I mean, the FBI sells out the people nationwide. Professional athletes sell out the people nationwide. Paid for deceivers. So we're going to talk about a lot of things interesting. Why Joe McKnight? Why this day? We're going to talk about Pete Carroll. What's Pete Carroll know? Pete Carroll used to be Joe McKnight's coach at USC. So you see this right here, December 1st, 2016, yesterday, the day he died. It was a date with 49 numerology. Will Smith died on April 9th, 2016, which was also a date with 49 numerology, plus it was 4/9. 49 is an important number to the gang that runs this nation, and that is the Scottish Rite Freemasons, the Jesuits. 49 represents Revelation, the final book of the Bible, which has a ton to do with the NFL. Revelation's the 66th book of the Bible. This death comes 66 days before the upcoming Super Bowl. The first Super Bowl was in the 66th season of the NFL. NFL and Jewish gematria equals 66. Revelation, the 66th book. In gematria, Revelation equals 49 and 121. Will Smith died on April 9th, a date with 49 numerology. Joe McKnight died on December 1st, 12/1, kind of like 121, but a date also with 49 numerology. This isn't a coincidence, this is part of the riddle. And you might recall that a New Orleans basketball player died 49 days after Will Smith in New Orleans. I got a video on that. Remember, supposedly he kicked in the wrong apartment door and got shot, something like that. It's around the time of the NBA playoffs. Joe McKnight also died on a date with 29 numerology yesterday. Football equals 29, remembered as a football player. He played his college ball in Los Angeles at USC. L's the 12th letter, A's the 1st, dead on 12/1, December 1st. In case somehow you've arrived here and never seen one of my videos before and you're going, what is this? Which I think is possible for anyone who shows up to one of my videos the first time. Just pause right here, go down to the description, and click on the link that says The Police, Murder by Numbers. That's a song from 1983 about how killing people by the numbers is as simple as ABC 1, 2, 3. I think sometimes this gang of Freemasons that runs the show, that controls our media, that makes this news by the numbers, I think sometimes they really are killing people, and I think other times they're just hoaxing the deaths by the numbers. And based on the scene that they showed on TV for this, it looked hoaxalicious. This man also played his NFL career in New York, and we'll talk more about that, what they have riddled in the story. New York was established July 26th, 1788, a date with 121 numerology. In gematria, there's a method where you multiply times 6. So we talked about how Revelation's 121. If you multiply times 6, it sums to 726. Look at the day New York's established, 726, like Revelation in English Sumerian gematria. Also the Revelation establishment date, double Revelation coding. Everything in New York is also coded 39, Revelations based on the 39 books of the Old Testament. So McKnight was 28. The word man has gematria of 28. This time they say he died at 2:43 p.m. Here's what's significant about that. That is the 883rd minute of the day. 2:43 in the afternoon is the 883rd minute of the day. That's the 153rd prime number, the 153rd. Anytime they code the number 153 into these stories, it's always paired with 42. Always. The 42 is always very close. And they blame this killing on road rage, which in gematria sums to 42. 153, 42. Where does this pairing of 153 and 42 come from? It comes from the Bible. Almost all of this gematria coding comes from the Bible. The Old Testament was originally written in Hebrew. Hebrew is a lettering and numbering system incorporating gematria. The New Testament was first retranslated in Greek, which was a lot like English, 26-letter alphabet, also based on a numbering system. English is the exact same thing, it's just we were never told because it's knowledge for those who govern over us. But John 21:11 talks about the miraculous catch in 153 fish. 153, a special number, often paired with 42. I just want to show you this real quick. I'll do the breakdown so I can explain this to you in case you're new here. The one thing with gematria is you got to make sure your spelling's right. So miraculous, it's called the miraculous catch. In English reduction, miraculous equals 42. 153 often paired with 42. M is the 13th letter. In numerology, 1 plus 3 is 4. I is the 9th letter. R is the 18th letter. 1 plus 8 becomes 9. You see how we're making each letter a single digit? You make them each a single digit, then you add them up, sums to 42. The word fish, using the alphabetic order, sums to 42 as well. F's the 6th letter, I the 9th, S the 19th, H the 8th. Fish 42. In the time I've been studying this, and I've documented it hundreds and hundreds of times, 153 always coded number next to number 42 in this system of gematria, the way they code out these headlines. So 883rd minute, the 153rd prime, road rage is blamed. 42 is also a number stamped on black people throughout history. Black History Month, the only month that sums to 42. The slang brothers, the most hateful term, and a whole lot more. As many athletes or sports fans know, Jackie Robinson, first black baseball player in the white major leagues wore 42. Some other good 153s, the Illuminati prime numbers. If you've never seen my work on Loretta Lynch, they made her entire process, if I remember correctly, last 153 days, plus her name equals 153. It was a record for how long it took Obama to get his new attorney general, and then her name was Loretta Lynch for the first black president. Show you something about Obama, too. 42, when you write out sums to 142. Obama, the first black president. On February 11th, 2009, just after he became president, that's the 42nd day of the year, they had him reopen Ford's Theater where Lincoln was assassinated. You know, he's from the land of Lincoln. That date, February 11th, 2009, the day he reopened Ford's Theater, that was a date with 42 numerology as well. I think there was something very symbolic about that. If you've never seen my work on Lincoln, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King Jr., how they're all coded into Barack Hussein Obama's name, his sequence of being the 44th president and more, you got to check out that work. So anyway, 42, 153, numbers on the incident, the time. They said the man who shot him was named Ronald Gasser, and they said he was 54. The name Ronald Gasser in Gematria, which I'll show you down below, sums to the exact same thing as Joe McKnight. They said he's 54 years old. New Orleans in Gematria sums to 45 and 54. Louisiana also has that Gematria of 38, like death and killing. And I mean, just look at how bizarre this story is. You might recall that in the Will Smith story, they said that his shooter, after he killed him, he waited at the crime scene for the police to come. Here, in the shooting of Joe McKnight, they're saying Ronald Gasser did the exact same thing. They're saying he stayed at the scene. You know? These stories just don't make sense. This isn't the way things transpire in real life. How often does somebody get so angry and kill somebody and then just decide to stay there and get caught? And then plus he's free the next day? I mean, this story is just meant to stir up a conversation. Give people another, story of sadness. Here's a 28-year-old man shot dead from road rage. Not very old. Seems like he was just playing at USC. So Joe McKnight, Ronald Gasser, both Gematria 52. The word government equals 52. The word prophecy 52. Remember, the prophecy code, the book of Revelation, this is what these Freemasons code by. Revelation, the final book of the Bible, the book of prophecy and destruction, same numbers again and again. That's why you have Will Smith dead in a suspicious killing, April 9th. Now Joe McKnight, December 1st. Almost the exact same details. Road rage. Shooter stays at the scene, waits for the police. Remember, Will Smith's killer, supposedly his dad was... Will Smith's killer's father was supposedly involved in an incident with the New Orleans police around the time of Katrina. And then remember, Will Smith was on that Saints team during Katrina that went on to win Super Bowl 44. From the Will Smith killing to the Joe McKnight killing is 237 days, span of 237 days. 2 times 3 times 7 is 42. This is another number that represents 42. Road rage equals 42. Both men dead from road rage. 2, 3, and 7 are also prime numbers. And I just want to show you the Gematria prime numbers. Prime numbers are very important to this study. Seemingly very important to the gang, the numbers that are only divisible by themselves, 2, 3, 7, all prime numbers. The only missing one in that chain is 5. 2, 3, 5, 7, then 11, then 13. So former Jet tweets, Antonio Cromartie, I think he was signed by the Colts earlier this year. The Colts and the Jets play each other on Monday Night Football, upcoming. Rematch of Super Bowl III, where Joe Namath said he would win. Joe Namath equals 33. There's going to be a Colts Colts Jets Super Bowl III riddle, no doubt, Monday night. And something tells me this death right here of Joe McKnight is definitely related to upcoming Monday Night Football, the Jets' next game. There's been a lot of death tied to the Colts this year, as I've been documenting all season. You know, in February, I explained why I thought the Super Bowl this year would be Colts and Giants based on the death of Frank Gifford and a lot of deaths since then, plus more. You know? Reggie Bush is mentioned, former USC star. Joe McKnight came after him. Reggie Bush tweets. Here's what I noticed about Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll was the coach at USC when Joe McKnight is there. Look at his tweet time, 4:09. 49's the big number on this. You know, I'll link all my videos on Will Smith's death as well so you can see how relevant this 49 is. Remember when they made Mother Teresa a saint this year, the Catholic Church? You know, it had never been done so quickly for anyone before. That her entire, the ritual of her becoming a saint, it was synced up with what was going on in the NFL that day, and seemingly also what was going on in months past with the death of Will Smith. All of this stuff is part of ongoing rituals by the gang. You know, that's the way to perceive it. These people, as they move through time, they keep having people fake their deaths, murder people by the numbers, you know? And you don't have to ask why they use these entertainers that they've made into celebrities and given them all this money and power and wealth, you know? These are the people that sold out for them, you know? They essentially sold their souls. Now they have to sell out and participate in a fake death or maybe even actually get killed. The high school he went to, mentioned in the article. McKnight was born in River Ridge, Louisiana. Show you something about that real quick. So many of these athletes, it's the exact same. It's mind-blowing. This is what makes me think that they're really being farmed. He was born on the 106th day of the year. The word prophecy equals 52 and 106. Joe McKnight, 52, born on the 106th day of the year. River Ridge, Louisiana equals 108, like the birth numerology of the date he was born. So many athletes, their place of birth and their date of birth have the exact same numbers. Makes me go, are they even really being born in these places? Are they being born in a lab and they're given this false background? What's really going on with these athletes? Something is up. Is it a completely made-up identity by the numbers? Perhaps his name's not really Joe McKnight. Perhaps that's what his name became when he went off to USC with his destined future, you know? Usually by high school, you can tell who are going to be the athletes that you can probably have in your scripted leagues. You know the talent level you need, the mental. A lot of decisions are made at the high school age. And a lot of these guys do change their name when they're in college, like Eli Apple at Ohio State, who I predicted would be the Giants' #1 pick this year. Eli Manning in the Big Apple. 10th pick overall. Eli wears number 10. So anyway, this guy went to John Curtis Christian High School, 153. In case you thought the 153 thing was a joke with John 21. By the way, I'll just show you this. John, you know, John equals 74. So does the word, or not 74, 47, just like Christian. Special number to the Freemasons. Freemason coding all over the Bible. Freemasons pride themselves on being the keepers of knowledge, the invisible architects of society. They rule by divide and conquer. Think about what religion is. They have something called Euclid's 47th problem about how to establish a foundation. How about a foundation of a religion, a way to control people, you know? Set of ways to make a group of people think and behave and act so that they're easy to control. I mean, what does Christianity mostly promote? Promotes ignorance, you know, purposefully not knowing about things, thinking what's within a book is all you need to know, the most important, everything else is wrong. It's amazing how many of these athletes who sell out the masses go to Christian schools, Catholic schools, Jesuit schools. It's actually not amazing. Start to look at who's doing all the deceiving in the world, they all hide behind religion. So anyway, it also comes back to him dying by the numbers of the Bible and Revelation, I love this right here. McKnight eventually left school for the NFL draft where the Jets made him a 4th-round pick in 2010. Remember when you write out 10 as a word, it sums to 39, like New York's date of establishment the full way, July 26, 1788. 7 plus 2 plus 6 plus 1 plus 7 plus 8 plus 8 sums to 39. The United Nations in New York is 39 floors tall. Everything in New York's 39. MSG for Madison Square Garden's 39. Madison's 39. Look how many games he played with New York. 39 games. The NFL is scripted. It's a joke. These Zionist Jews, these Freemasons, these Jesuits, they run it. They treat these athletes like the overpaid puppet actors they are. This is how their careers are scripted. This is why he played 39 games. 502 yards. Let's take away the 0. What's his name? Joe McKnight, 52. All these things are 39 and more right here. They say he died on Bierman, which has gematria of 34, like murder. How perfect. Senseless act of violence. Then they give us these closing stats. McKnight played in the CFL this season. That's the Canadian Football League, which is also scripted by the numbers. Freemasons run the world. What, you think they're running America, but they're not running the neighbor Canada and the southern neighbor Mexico? Look who colonized the world. McKnight played in the CFL this season with the Edmonton Eskimos and Saskatchewan Roughriders. He had 38 rushes for 228 yards for Roughriders, whose season ended November 5th. Remember. As of Thursday, he still was listed on their roster. So, 38 rushes for 228 yards, huh? You don't think they're scripting these leagues? This is the final send-off for him. These are the numbers of death. That's how scripted it is. Even up in the CFL, they do it the same way. And for all of you who don't understand how they can't hit these yards right on the nose, I mean, if you're a yard off, just run your play 3 times in a row. You're 1 yard in a pile of dust. You're right on the mark. But if you pay attention and you watch the games with open eyes, you can see that a lot of times the defenders, the reason the tackle's not made is because they let them get by so easily. And you can see a lot of times it seems that the player knows to run to a spot marker on the field where the person's waiting to stop him. I really think these games are that scripted. You don't know how many people out there have headsets. It's really not that hard to do. So no surprise, the fake death right after he finishes his Canadian football season with those stats. He was wearing the number 33 for the last team he played with, number of sacrifice. Just want to document Edmonton Eskimos has gematria of 83. 83, the 23rd prime. Football equals 83. 191's the number for the Society of Jesus, the Jesuit order. The last team he played for, Saskatchewan, has gematria of 44, so does the word shooting. Dead in a shooting. Remember, Will Smith equals shooting, kill equals shooting. Will Smith won Super Bowl 44. I forget what Joe McKnight might have won in college. I don't think he won anything in the NFL. Also, very crucial here, we talked about how the Super Bowl is 66 days away from his date of death. NFL equals 66 in Jewish gematria. First Super Bowl at the end of the 66 season. He was the 112th pick of the 2010 draft. Houston equals 112. The Jets are playing the Colts Monday night. Andrew Luck equals 112. Kathy Luck equals 112. Houston equals 112 where he played his high school ball. Horseshoe equals 112, what's on the side of their helmet. What looks like it might be the symbol of Super Bowl 51. Peyton Manning had 112 touchdown passes to Marvin Harrison. Luck, Manning, Elway. If you missed all my videos on how I called the Super Bowl last October 2015 for the Denver Broncos last year, I was showing the riddle going on with Manning, Elway, Luck. See what happens on Monday night. The first number McKnight wore, 25. The Super Bowl this year in Houston's on February 5th. 2017, a date with 44 numerology. Here's from his death to the Super Bowl, 66 days, NFL. It's also a total span of 67 days. The first Super Bowl was at the end of the 66th season on January 15th, 67. That was a date with 83 numerology, football 83. Freemasonry equals 67, so does blood sacrifice, number often connected to death. Dead a span of 67 days from the Super Bowl. This reader caught these things right here. He points out that the season Joe McKnight was drafted, it was the Jets' 51st overall season if you count their 10 years before they joined the NFL. This is the year of Super Bowl 51, hosted by the Houston Texans. Houston Texans equals 51. The word Super Bowl equals 41. So does Baltimore, where the Colts are originally from. The Colts won Super Bowl 41 in Indianapolis. This man points out that in 2011, the home opener against the Dallas Cowboys on September 11, 2001, McKnight blocked Mac McBriar's punt on a critical play, resulting in a touchdown by fellow defender Isaiah Trufant. The Jets went on to defeat the Cowboys 27-24, a sum of 51. So here's what I'm thinking about that. Cowboys, New York. This year, the Cowboys right now have the best record in the league. They're 11-1. They've won 11 straight. Their only loss was in New York. Or not in New York, it was in Dallas against the New York Giants week 1. 20-19, a sum of 39 points. New York equals 39. Every single Super Bowl ever won by a New York team comes back to 39. It happens that Cowboys in Gematria sums to 39 as well. Everything coded on NRG Stadium that's hosting the Super Bowl is 39 this year. Anyway, I'm just thinking Dallas, New York. What's the riddle that they're trying to show us through these outcomes? Because what we figured out is this is how the league is scripted over time. Every game is scripted. The scores are set. That's why the refs throw the flags to make sure certain scores don't go in. They have to keep these games on the script because the script is part of the ongoing script for the overall rigged league. You know, if you missed how I called the Super Bowl last year, I showed in November that the last time the Broncos and Panthers had played each other, the game summed to 50 points, and there was a lot of narratives for them to both end up in the Super Bowl against each other, which happened. You know? The last time they'd met years earlier, the game was 50 points. So anyway, all these games over time are scripted. They're all pointing to something. I don't know if back when Joe McKnight was participating in this, if he knew he was going to have to participate in faking his death on this date, but perhaps he did, you know? He also scored his first career touchdown versus Baltimore. He points out on Chuck Pagano's birthday, who's the coach of the Indianapolis Colts now. Again, the team originally from Baltimore. The final score of that game was also 51. With regards to the Cowboys, the last time the Cowboys and Colts played, the Cowboys blew out the Colts, and that game to this year's Super Bowl is 777 days. 777. I keep thinking about that in light of the name Luck for Andrew Luck, who was the quarterback for the Colts in that game. Luck, 777s. He also points out he was released by the Jets on a date with 47 numerology. This year will be Super Bowl 51, the 47th of the modern era. He signed with the Kansas City Chiefs on January 12th, 14. He sees that 1-1-12 again, like him being the 112th draft pick. The first Super Bowl, here's something else I'm thinking about with that. The first Super Bowl ever was Packers and Chiefs. Also, the original Texans team, who were the Dallas Texans from Texas, they became the Kansas City Chiefs once upon a time. The old Texans team before there was a Dallas Cowboys. And then again, Colts, Jets, Monday Night Football, where everything's 33. Joe Namath equals 33. It'll be a rematch of Super Bowl III. Down in the description, I'm going to link every video I made on Will Smith. There's a lot of good ones, especially the one that has to do with the movie Focus. CNN. Okay, real quick. Focus was a movie that Will Smith starred in having to do with football and gambling, and it's set in New Orleans. Will Smith was also in the movie Concussion. The night Will Smith, the football player, was killed, Will Smith, the actor, was getting a Lifetime Achievement Award from the MTV Movie Awards. The theme that night, the color theme, was gold and black, just like the Saints' colors. So here's a football player getting killed that played for the Saints in New Orleans after Will Smith just did football-related movies, one in New Orleans. Anyway, CNN did a story about Will Smith's killing, and the camera just goes to this shot on the screen of the word focus for almost no reason. This is a story about the killing of Will Smith, April 9th. Will Smith, the actor, was in a movie not long before that called Focus. You see, about football and gambling. And then CNN in their story about Will Smith just puts the word focus right on the screen in front of your face and just leaves it there. The powers that be, they love to mock us all the time. And they don't think people are paying attention, and they don't think they're connecting the dots. That's what this channel is about, connecting the dots, waking people up to how we're being mocked. I mean, they've recreated now the same story in the same city with 2 NFL players, or former NFL players. The media is always this way, creating the same type of propaganda that's so ridiculous. It's all part of treating us like we're idiots. So all those videos will be linked in the description. Until next time, Truth Seekers.